So listen, I was in marketing for 10 years and I was in a marketing role when I started using these tools. So what I found was at a very basis, take marketing as out for a second. I was finding it very bizarre that we were working a set amount of hours per week and we weren't discussing what was actually being accomplished. It was just work per hour per week and repetitive. And I started finding very quickly that from a leadership perspective, looking at where I wanted to go, I needed to start communicating on the outcome. I think that it was very new for me to be responsible for communicating the outcome I was creating for the business and actually doing the work that I was doing on a day to day basis. And so when I use these tools for the first time, that is truly the first time I ever thought, am I actually the hardest working person and doing the best job ever if I'm always available and answering every little thing? Which sounds silly, but I was always taught that you're the first one to the office, you're the last one to leave the office. I took a call on the way to the hospital as I was in labor. So I was truly that person. And for me, in 2020, that was the first time I said, does this actually make sense? Like, does it mean if I'm always busy that I'm creating value at an enterprise level within an organization that is worthy of leadership or worthy of my time being spent dictated by day-to-day operations. So I think just questioning, interrogating, like, is this actually the right way? Should we be focused on an hourly rate and not the outcome that we're generating and monetizing it that way? Was really the first initial thought of what am I doing? And is it great?
That's a good question to have. I think if I can think about all of the people I know who have that hospital sort of, I was working when I really shouldn't have been, I think they're all women that pop to mind. So there's something there
Yeah.
about nurturing and it gets brought into the workplace and it's not sustainable long term. So okay. And then if I'm hearing it, we're kind of seeing tech as being able to automate mundane, give back some hours.
Yes,
Like,
and
how does
also
that
just
bridge to AI stuff?
yes, absolutely, and just at a basis, when I started using the technology and interrogating the current processes that existed, I started connecting the technology capabilities, specifically with generative AI tools at the time, to those inefficient processes because I started thinking, okay, even if I make my processes separate from technology more efficient, if there's this capability, shouldn't I be learning about the capability and how to use it and then reinventing my process around it instead of the other way around? That's how I connected those two pieces for me. And it took a lot of swallowing my pride, admitting that I was not efficient to begin with, also admitting that a lot of my time being spent on a weekly basis was not being spent in the most strategic way possible. And that trickled into downstream ideas of if I had more time to focus on strategy, I could better articulate my thoughts, communicate them to stakeholders, align the organization, bring the appropriate stakeholders into issues that do influence other departments and our pipeline. And that's really what snowballed into we're going to question everything and it's okay not to know the answers. And that's the complete opposite of how I feel I was taught about leadership in general, because you don't always have to have the answer. And it's actually really great not to already have your mind made up and ask good questions and embrace curiosity. Like that's the backbone of innovation, you know?